Hello. So I am now back. I said I was going to do this because I've already gone through Blake Lively's PGA letter, which was I can't even talk about it without laughing. Um, it was the most. No, I can't find the words. It made me laugh. It made me roll my eyes. It made me roll my entire head at some points. Um, very, me, self-serving, narcissistic. I hate it when she brings out the female card and, "Well, you've got to award me this thing that only benefits me in the name of all women who've ever been told you don't deserve this." It's just like, fuck off. Um, you're not doing this for all the women. You're doing it for yourself. Let's be really clear about that. So anyway, I went through because Lively's just went on and on and on and on. I am now going to go through all the supportive letters. I said I would, so I'm doing it now because I want to then go on to I want to do a follow-up video, which I'm going to relate back to this letter a bit, which will be the expert report of Jennifer Freud, something like that. Anyway, I think it's Freud. I'm going with that. So I'm going to get this one done, and then I will do the expert report, just because I made an observation. Well, yeah, it's just something I noticed. So we'll talk about that in that video. All right. So we're going to start with Alex Sachs. To the Producers Guild of America. My name is Alex Sachs, and I'm a producer on the film It Ends With Us. In the past 8 years, I've produced over 20 films, many of which have applied for the PGA mark. But when I started my career, I was actually Mark Gordon's assistant when he and Hawk first conceptualized the mark. Setting the scene a little bit there. Also, just to compare and contrast, right? Alex Sachs has produced over 20 films and only got the PGA mark with It Ends With Us. It was with that film it was granted. Blake Lively has only produced It Ends With Us and got the PGA mark straight away. She continues, I sat there meetings with every studio head, took notes on the phone calls, and then, after years of hard work, saw it come to fruition with great pride. All of that is to say, I am well versed in the role of the producer on films of all shapes and sizes, and I hold immense honour and understanding for the mark itself. The more films I make, the more confident I am in my certainty that no two follow the same path. It Ends With Us, in particular, had an exceptionally and extraordinary and unique path, which is why I write to you today. And I think she's kind of by saying that it had that this film it has had an exceptionally. I keep wanting to say exponentially. The film's had an exceptionally extraordinary and unique path. I a part of me is wondering, is that code for it was stolen? It was hijacked by the person who I'm supporting here. She became a self-inflicted producer. I don't know, speculation. As I wrote in my application, I joined the film It Ends With Us in November of 2022. Blake Lively quickly followed suit less than 2 months later. From her earliest interactions on the film with our director and myself as both an executive producer and our lead actress, it was clear that Blake's creative contributions were that of a partner and would likely far surpass her her contractually obligated roles. From intense script development prior to the commencement of pre-production to being a critical voice in the casting process to understanding and helping us work through numerous financial and logistical issues vis-a-vis the schedule and department budgets as they pertain to creative outcomes, there was no conversation too small or inconsequential for Blake's involvement. And can I I'm just gonna interject, and how many text messages did Alex Sachs properly moan about how far she was taking her role and, all the decisions and basically taking over. She sent those messages to Justin Baldoni and JB Heath, like, "Oh my god, she's taken over the film." Right from the start. She continues, "Blake is a producer. It is in her blood, it's in her bones. She is a workhorse." She picks up the phone. She reads the pages. She doesn't read the book, though. She examines the schedules. She studies location photos. She is present on set for shot listing and reblocking of scenes. She sends inspiration images for set design and costumes. And let me be clear, not just her character sets, not just her costumes, for the entire films. A lot of times we worked remotely in prep, so take the next colloquialism with a grain of salt. But Blake delights in being the first to arrive and the last to leave. On set, Blake's producerial nature was even more strongly felt because she was present, weighing in on all of the aforementioned, but also, and perhaps most surprisingly, thinking about the crew and overall production in an effort to create the best and most efficient working environment for all. From conversations about our crew badges to remaining COVID safety protocols, there was no problem she didn't want to help solve or create. When we wrapped the first half of shooting, I remember sharing with her how tremendous it was to work alongside someone so consistently committed to the pursuit of excellence, creatively and professionally speaking. It is what I aspire to do as a producer daily, but truthfully, it's not always easy. This is just, to me, right? This is just fucking wild, right? She has this, as I said, right? This woman has produced over 20 movies already by this point, and she had to wait all of that time to actually get this mark, right? So she has put in the graft and done the time. Blake Lively comes in, bosses her way around, and bullies everyone on set and behind the scenes the entire way through this production, demands the producer status that she did get, demands and extorts the PGA mark, and yet the far more experienced and seasoned producer aspires to be Blake in terms of being a producer. Are we fucking joking here? It annoys me all the simping that is going on here, and I don't even know why. The job is exhausting, as we know, but Blake, the simp, but Blake simply cannot exist in any other way, and that is contagious and awe-inspiring. When we came back in January of 2024 for the second round of shooting post-strikes, Blake's involvement was just as, if not more present, even then. I remember feeling like her credits on the film left something to be desired vis-a-vis her actual contributions to the film. But we had an extremely challenging amount of work to accomplish, not to mention the hardest creative work of the film to shoot. And as is true to her character, she put her head down and focused on the work. We worked as a team with our ADs, not including the one she fired, by the way, or two that she fired. Other producers, DP, and even the studios. No mention of the director there. Even the studios to build a schedule and framework to complete the film in a way that both honored the quality of what we had already shot, but also could elevate it further. Camera, set, costume, and logistical ideas abounded from us all, especially Blake. At long last, we entered post-production, and perhaps because the insanity of production had calmed, it became that much clearer in both retrospect and the assessment of all that was ahead, how incredibly involved we both needed and wanted Blake to be. Again, her text messages between her and the other producers and Justin don't support this. Not only has Blake been actively picture editing the film, reviewing research, selecting music, and by that I mean calling artists directly, like her best friend, for both the film and the trailer, watching playback and VFX work, but she's also in lockstep with Sony's head of marketing, strategizing on all things marketing and publicity for our upcoming 2-month campaign. So this confirms who oversaw the marketing. It's there in black and white. Which goes hand in hand with Blake's own letter, right? Alex Sachs is saying, right? Blake Lively's saying, "Oh no, I had nothing to do with the market. I did as I was told. It was all Wayfarer. Wayfarer deviated from what Sony wanted." But Alex Sachs, Blake Lively already admitted in her PGA letter that she oversaw all of the marketing, etc., with her company, Maximum Effort. But Alex Sachs is saying Blake Lively is in lockstep with Sony's head of marketing, strategizing on all things marketing and publicity for our upcoming 2-month campaign. Now, when was this written? Does it say? No, it doesn't say. But I would wager, given that Blake's was written in July, bear with. June. Okay. Given that Blake's was written in June, I would wager that well, I mean, these were all attached, so this had to have been written by June, which makes sense because that's 2 months before the premiere. And that is the period of marketing that went to shit and was received poorly. That is what caused the backlash. So I'm going to keep reading, but I think it's important to acknowledge these moments, like when we get them, because that's the point. I'm not here to just read it and go, oh, there you go, then that's what Alex Sachs says. There are things in these letters I expect to see which may be helpful to Wayfarer's case or hinder it. I think this might be helpful. How much I don't know, but it kind of it kind of rebuts Blake Lively's assertion that she had nothing to do with the marketing and it was all Sony who made, down to Sony who made the marketing decisions, and she just did as she was told. But Wayfarer deviated just for no other reason than to make her look bad. And that's clearly the view that Isabella Ferrer also has, is that Wayfarer were doing their own thing to make her look bad. So, where did she get that idea from? Well, I'll give you one guess. Okay. So she continues. She is speaking to our cast and clearing their availability directly. The work and the hustle just does not stop, and neither does that commitment to excellence. In the last week, it was agreed upon by our entire team that Blake to be In the last week, it was agreed upon by our entire team that Blake be granted the producer credit she so clearly deserves and did originally request. No, that was actually agreed upon. Basically, Wayfarer was strong-armed. That had nothing. That decision actually had nothing to do with Alex Sachs or anyone else. That was between Wayfarer. I did the video earlier well, yesterday, on where I went through all of the revisions of the ACTA loan out agreement, and you can see where it came in and where they finally conceded. Having gotten to know her over the last 18 months, I can now say that it is just typical of her maturity and conscientiousness to strive to build something of worth, knowing that she would not necessarily be given the credit. Blake has been a tremendous asset to this film, and I feel endlessly fortunate to have had her at my side. It is with all of the above in mind that I respectfully request that she be granted the PGA mark she so clearly deserves. Would be more than delighted to speak further at any point. With tremendous gratitude and respect, Alex Sachs. Oh, I feel like she contradicts her own messages, her own words. Like Alex Sachs seemed to be playing off both sides, very similarly to how Liz Plank did, right? Until she decided which side she was going to betray. Alex Sachs was definitely not happy about the level of involvement Blake Lively had. Alex Sachs did not want Blake Lively to be handed over the dailies. So to now see this kind of snivelly, ass kissing letter, just it's making me question: was she strong armed, or was she promised something? But I think she could have written an effective letter without going so over the top. In all honesty. Okay, Tobias Schleisler. I don't know if I've got that right. So this is written on the 20th of June. So this is only a few days before Blake Lively wrote her own letter. So this is director of photography. To whom it may concern, I am writing this letter to support Blake Lively's credit as producer, produced by, on the upcoming motion picture It Ends With Us. I had the pleasure of working with Blake on It Ends With Us as the director of photography when director of photography Barry Peterson unfortunately wasn't available to finish the movie due to a schedule conflict. As I started pre-production, I realized immediately that Blake had taken on the role of a producer on every level of the production. From rewriting the script to enhance the story to adapting it for schedule and budget demands. Blake had the same influence when it came to location choices, costumes, art department, and every aspect that involved the production creatively and financially to make the movie better. Her tremendous work ethic carried over into the shooting phase. Her dedication to the movie was never ending. Every shoot day, Blake had late night meetings after wrap or before call with our first assistant director, Christopher Sargent, who was brought in to replace the first assistant director she had fired. To improve the shooting schedule in order to make our work more efficient and creatively to make the best movie possible. Even as far as helping director Justin Baldoni and myself daily with great suggestions on coverage to be able to finish the movie on schedule and on budget. Now, either this guy really did not know what was going on, or he's fibbing. Even as far as helping director Justin Baldoni. Yeah, I don't think the evidence supports that. In short, after all my years of being so lucky to work with the best producers in our business, I can honestly say Blake's contribution merits the producer credit. Please feel free to contact me anytime if you have further questions. Okay. This one looks very short and to the point. So this is the other director of photography, Barry Peterson. So he was the director of photography for Phase 1 and then he wasn't available for phase 2, so they brought in the guy whose letter we just read. To whom it may concern, at the PGA, this is also written on June 20th, by the way, just noting the dates that these all seem to be written on. I'm Barry Peterson, Director of Photography on The Movie Ends With Us. I'm writing to support the petition for Blake Library to receive the PGA mark. I worked with Blake during early prep, the initial photography segment, and now her involvement in post-production. I've observed Miss Lively in early pre-production making great aesthetic decisions, as well as making story additions and subtractions with budget conciseness for the betterment of the movie. Blake has brought a level of passion well beyond acting that this film will greatly benefit from. Sincerely, Barry Peterson. So this would be the first AD who she installed. To whom it may concern, my name is Chris Surgeon, and I was first assistant director on the film It Ends With Us. I am writing in support of Blake Lively receiving credit as a producer on the film. Blake was actively engaged in the shooting schedule and day-to-day efficiency of shooting beyond the normal involvement of a lead actress. This often involved long and involved conversations off the clock regarding scheduling and planning on a daily basis. She often helped me streamline our schedule in coordination with creative choices and decisions involving locations and staging. She played a crucial role in reordering the schedule on the day. Some of the stuff is so telling. She played a crucial role in reordering the schedule. So basically, like, come in, they had a schedule planned, and then she come in and upended it. And that is literally what that sentence says. It's what it means. She played a crucial role in reordering the schedule on the day in real time for efficiencies. It wasn't. Considering changeovers, stunt rehearsals, and shooting. It was also her idea in pre-production to have intimacy doubles available on set for choreographing and rehearsing of intimate sequences. The time this saved production is incalculable. She was instrumental in our decision to move our production to LA in order to safely complete our rooftop work by extending her availability to the project, as well as weighing in and approving the construction and rigging of a stunt wall. All in all, Blake was fully committed to maximizing the efficiency of our shooting schedule, as well as handling issues and problems that arose during production. Any suggestions I received from her were improvements and helped move the schedule and shooting forward in positive ways. Okay. So this is June 24th. Who's this? This is Andrea Ajemian, executive producer, okay, and unit production manager. To whom it may concern, for the majority of 2024 and into 2025, I worked on the film It Ends With Us as an executive producer and unit production manager. My duties included everything related to line producing and production management. During that time, I worked very closely with the producing team. When I received an email from the PGA months ago regarding who should receive the PGA mark, Blake Lively was not listed as a possibility that I could select. However, she is now receiving a producing credit, and it is of my opinion that she should also receive the PGA mark. Along with being our lead actress, Blake was very involved in all creative decisions throughout production and post-production as a producer. It is my opinion that her producerial contributions to the project made the movie so much better. She was involved during production with decisions related to creative script changes, choices of props, set dressing ideas, color schemes, and everything, in my opinion, that a great producer should be involved with. I have been a member of the PGA for years and take the PGA mark very seriously, and it is of my opinion that Blake Lively should definitely receive the PGA mark for the film It Ends With Us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Okay. 21st of June. This is from Ange Giannetti. To the Producers Guild of America, my name is Andrea Giannetti. I am an EVP at Columbia Pictures and have supervised over 70 films during my 34 years working for the studio. I am writing this letter to ask you to please grant the PGA mark to Blake Lively for her producing role on It Ends With Us. Columbia Pictures is distributing It Ends With Us and is an investor in the film. Wayfarer Studios is the financier and responsible for overseeing all aspects of making the film. Given Columbia's role as distributor, I was not asked to participate in the PGA mark process. However, since Blake has recently been given the producer credit by Wayfarer Studios, I want to share my personal experience of Blake's work on the film with the PGA. Okay, so let's see if this lines up with Ange Giannetti's text. Blake signed on to star in It Ends With Us in late December 2022. Blake jumped in immediately with Wayfarer, the director, and producers to start the pre-production process of assembling crew, locations, wardrobe, scheduling, etc. My early role was primarily focused on script and cast. Immediately. Blake rightly knew the script still needed work. In addition to all the pre-production work she was doing, she worked diligently for weeks on end to make sure we had a script that we could all be proud of and that fans of the book would love. Her years of experience, creativity, and skill as a filmmaker elevated the screenplay in every way. This is the same woman who was moaning that Blake's revisions of the script were not R-rated enough. She contributed to casting lists, poured through hundreds of casting tapes, working side by side with the director and her fellow producers to assemble an incredible supporting cast. When faced with production issues such as short days or difficult locations, it was likely Blake who would find the sobs either on set and or in the script so that we could make the tight shooting days to stay on budget. Her hard work, incredible taste. No. Seriously, they hated her wardrobe and they sent Justin Baldoni to go and tell her. I can't believe the lies, honestly. And the enabling and I cannot believe that they are talking nonsense in these letters. Oh my God. Her hard work, incredible taste, skills, and creative contributions can be seen throughout the process to bring this film to the screen. From script, casting, wardrobe, set design, blocking, right down to COVID safety protocols for the crew. Right, that frustrates me because they did have a COVID safety protocol. Wayfarer were following the protocols. And then she continues. Plus, as a fun side note, she found the best snacks, bites, eats, cinnamon buns in every town we were shooting and brought them to set. Relevance. In post, Blake's commitment to the movie has been inspiring. She has worked tirelessly from many different time zones through all of post to make the best cut of the movie possible. After each preview, she read every single card and poured through the research reports, finding many of the solves we needed. Like her contributions to all other aspects of post, from score, song choices, the mix, color timing, and more, have all been immeasurable and invaluable. Simply put, Blake's producing contribution to It Ends With Us is in every single frame of this movie, and she should be recognized for it by the PGA. Once I get to the end of these, right, I will tell you the one thing, the one specific thing that we know that makes me think that what everyone has written here is total horseshit. But I'll get there. Let's just keep going. This is from Alan Baumgarten. Okay. He's an editor that Blake brought in at the end to help her put together her cut. This is June 20th. Dear Producers Guild Committee, I'm writing in support of Blake Lively's producer credit being considered for PGA recognition on the feature film It Ends With Us. I was brought in as an editor by the studio. It wasn't by studio, it was by Blake. To work directly with Blake to create a new version of the cut. See, and that's why it wasn't the studio, by the way. He was brought in to create a competing cut that Blake Lively, can't even say it, that Blake Lively had no authority to make. But he can't put that in here. He can't say, well, Blake brought me on against the wishes of Wayfarer. Blake and I worked very closely with many days at a stretch of very long hours, reworking the film with a different tone and style. The new cut was chosen by the studio. We know that's not true. The new cut was chosen by the studio to become the final version of the film, and I'm continuing to work closely with Blake on it until it is completed. Okay, so we know that Sony did not want Blake's cut because Justin's did better multiple times. But she told them they were using hers anyway. Blake has been making final decisions on all aspects of post-production, extensive reworking of picture cuts, previews, sound mixing, ADR, music spotting, and scoring, as well as visual effects, design, and approval. On the music side, Blake was responsible for bringing in a new composer. She fired the original one because Taylor Swift didn't like him. And if that one hadn't been fired and replaced, it is likely, allegedly, that Taylor Swift would have said no to one of her songs being in the film. Either way, though, whether the crux of that is entirely true or not, that's what is the kind of the story that goes with that, with the circumstances there. But it is for certainty. Blake Lively fired the composer. There is no other good reason for her to have done that. And then brought in a new one. On the music side, Blake was responsible for bringing in a new composer, and she selected and was instrumental in obtaining the licensing rights to several major songs that are an integral part of the film. There was no part of the process in which Blake was not involved on a day-to-day basis. You heard it here first. The film would not be what it is without her immersive involvement and decision-making on every level. Please contact me if any additional information is needed. So, I mean, they just, because even to be a producer, the amount of inserting herself was too much. It was over and above. So these letters kind of paint a picture for us, I guess. Another one on the 20th, like, wow, there was like a whole flurry of people writing these on the same day. So this is the post supervisor to whom it may concern at PGA. This is, why didn't you say I am, Lisa? Or my name is. This is Lisa Rogers. I am the post supervisor on the film. It Ends With Us. I am writing to support the petition for Blake Lively to receive the PGA mark, along with Alex Sachs and Jamie Heath. Jamie Heath had not supported this. Jamie Heath had not supported us. Lively's letter, it's herself, which is dated after this one, clearly makes a point and tries to explain away that Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni will not be writing letters. So who has told this person that Jamie Heath is supporting Blake Lively getting the PGA? It sounds trivial, and it may well be, but little details, like for me personally, like what I like to do is to go through things, find a hole in the story where something doesn't make sense, and then pick away at it until it reveals something important, critical, or just something really interesting, you know? We continue. For the last 3 months of the post-process, Miss Lively has been involved in reshaping every aspect of the film, including the final locked edit, the sound, the VFX, the score, and the song choices. She's very conscious of the budget. This is where they lose me, because we've seen the evidence that she blew the wardrobe budget like by more than double. And that was just for her wardrobe. It wasn't even for any other cast members. She doubled the wardrobe budget for her character alone. A wardrobe budget that was supposed to expand to all of the cast costumes. So when they keep writing in here, oh, she did everything it made to work to improve the budget, and no, she didn't. She blew the budget and then told Wayfarer to stump up more money. It's ridiculous. She was very conscious of the budget and would discuss any concerns or issues that occurred during post, and would come up with solutions to discuss with the studio and return to me with a decision how to proceed. She hired a new editor who she has been working with around the clock, and that would be that guy, Alan Baumgarten. She hired a new editor who she has been working with around the clock to re-edit and lock the film. She made all the decisions on where and when the last few previews would take place. She has been fully involved with ADR and sound effects editing, and has been making all the final decisions on the mixing stage. She has been overseeing all of the approvals of VFX. She has brought her impeccable taste for music to the table by choosing all the songs in the film. All the songs. So Justin didn't get a single say, is what this tells me. His choice of composer was fired, and he did not get any further say in any of the songs. And yet all of these idiots are standing by and clapping this crap. It pisses me off. Right. She has brought her impeccable taste in music to the table by choosing all the songs in the film and making every creative decision regarding the score cues. We could not have finished the film without Miss Lively's tireless hands-on involvement and her true dedication and passion to make the best film possible during these final 4 months of post. Yes, they would. I'm trying not to get annoyed, right? That's a lie. They would have finished the film. Justin Baldoni had been able to, use his time in the editing room as the director without interruptions and threats and all the crap he had to deal with all day, every day. I will try to. I guess it makes me really angry to read all of this, because none of it is true, and it's so upsetting that all these people. I don't know what made them write all of this. Whether they were told. Well, I do think that they were told. I think they were told things about what was going on that wasn't true. And the reason I'm starting to think that is because that post supervisor who was, convinced that Jamie Heath was supporting her getting a PGA and was going to write something that wasn't true, but for some reason she had that opinion. Same with the marketing. The fact that someone further up says that Blake Lively dealt with all the marketing. You know, they're being told things that aren't true. Or they know it's true and they don't care. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so this is the supervising sound editor, Cami Asgar. To whom it may concern, I'm writing on behalf, I think it's supposed to be behalf, of Ms. Blake Lively in her pursuit of a producer credit on the feature film It Ends With Us. Over my 30-plus year career, I worked on countless features with a wide range of people credited as producers, some very involved and many absent from any involvement. Ms. Lively is one of the few that I can say has been incredibly involved with every aspect of bringing this movie to the finish line. Although I was not involved with the shoot, I have been involved with this film as it progressed through the post process. Starting with the editing process, Ms. Lively choreographed how the story should unfold, making shot-by-shot editorial choices with her picture editor, making sure the audience is captivated by the amazing performances throughout the movie. As this movie is an adaptation of a popular novel, she utilized audience test screening to hone in on the complexity of telling this story. A story she hadn't read herself. On the sound side of post, Miss Lively, working with the entire sound crew, personally made the choices of how each scene needed to be constructed and balancing the soundscape so that the sound helps tell the story and the emotions of the movie and not get in the way of it. Miss Lively personally brought on composer Rob Simonson to score the movie and has guided him to meticulously weave a score that fits the movie. As I mentioned, I have worked with a lot of producers, and Ms. Lively is on a very short list of people that are present, involved, and sacrifice so much of their personal time to produce a movie. Many people are hands-off and don't advocate for their projects, but Ms. Lively chooses to get in the trenches and work hard to get what she believes will make the movie better, and will be the first person to accept fault. What? What? Blake Lively will be the first person to accept fault. Yeah, that letter, that statement that her and her husband wanted Wayfarer to read out, taking responsibility for everything, all of her mistakes, does not support that. Oh. Lively chooses to get in the trenches and work hard to get what she believes will make the movie better and will be the first person to accept fault. Yeah, that's bullshit. And is open to hear from her crew how to best move forward. Speaking for my entire crew, it has been nothing but an absolute pleasure working with Miss Lively. Oh, God. Delusion. Oh, Colleen Hoover. All right, let's see how much ass kissing can go into one letter. To whom it may concern, my name is Colleen Hoover, author of the novel It Ends With Us and executive producer on the film adaptation by the same name. I'm writing to recommend Blake Lively be recognised as a producer on the film It Ends With Us. I have witnessed firsthand Blake's heavy involvement on this film at every stage, from rewriting the early script to having major input during the production phase. Blake has been extremely sensitive to the source material. She didn't even read the fucking source material. So much so that she personally ensured that I have input and first-hand experience during the various production stages of production. That's what. Do you know what? I'm trying not to get annoyed, but do you know what? I'm annoyed. When it comes to the source material, right? This is why she does. Fuck it, I'll say it now. This is why I don't think she deserves the producer credit, right? She may have been a producer, but does she deserve the PGA mark? No. There are many reasons for that. But one of the things that really strikes me is they're all sitting here, just absolutely, you know, spilling all this crap, right? About, oh, she's so amazing. She got so stuck in. She's so hardworking. Yeah. Just yak, 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 yak. And coming off like a fucking fart in the wind at this point, right? And to me, right, I'm still annoyed at the fact that she couldn't do the most simple, basic thing for this movie in any role, whether it be as an actress, a producer, a director, anything, right? If you are signing on to a movie that is going to be a film adaptation of a book, read the fucking book. It's the minimum you can do. Not everyone might agree with me, right? The book is not, it's not like War and Peace. It is not that thick of a book. I managed to read it in a couple of days. And the fact that she couldn't even be asked to do that, but then I'm having to read all of these letters where people are like fawning over her. Oh, yeah, she worked so hard. This movie would not have come together without her. And then you got the actual author. And trust me, if I was the author of the book and my lead actress, in the film adaptation, hadn't even bothered to read the book, I'd be like, bitch, please. I would be quite offended by that, actually. But she's sitting here, right? Colleen Hoover, and this is what has pissed me off now. Blake has been extremely sensitive to the source material. No, she hasn't. She was completely ignorant of it, right? She then says, so much so that she has personally ensured that I have input and first-hand experience during the various stages of production. No, she brought in the author as an alternative to reading the book. It's like, oh, well, let's just bring the woman in who wrote the book. It's lazy. And I'm fed up. I'm fed up with Blake Lively so much. Okay, I'm going to continue. Because of this, I was able to meet and chat with her in pre-production, and I was able to witness in production how hands-on she was with each scene. But it is in the post-production phase where I had the most time with her, and oh, here we go, and personally witnessed how much of her effort went into the completion of this film. She spent weeks and countless hours and late nights editing, and as of this letter, continues to do so. As she is working to lock in sound, I was with her during many of those 16+ hour days and personally watched her painstakingly go through every frame of the entire movie, ensuring it became the project we hoped it could be. Interesting. Colleen Hoover was with Blake Lively for most of the post-production. Well, now we know why she was nope, not going to say it. I have a feeling that Blake Lively managed to use that time to get into Colleen Hoover's head. Okay. She has also worked so hard on preparing this film for promotion and was able to edit a cut in time to be viewed at a charity event in Dallas this past weekend, where over 2,500 people were in attendance. Right. I have some things to say on this. I'm all for supporting charities, right? Blake Lively supported a literacy charity. Now, important, yes, absolutely. All charities, have a purpose. This was obviously Book Bonanza. Colleen Hoover. It's Colleen Hoover's charity, basically, and they support various projects. What's Blake Lively done for a domestic violence charity during all this? Oh, that's it. Nothing. And the cut that she edited in time to be viewed at the charity event was basically taken without consent. So Yeah, it's a definition of theft. I'm just saying. Okay. She herself showed up and personally spoke to each of the 10 theatres full of people to welcome them and let them know how much this film means to her and how much her heart has gone into the making of the film. She is not simply an executive producer or an actress on this film because without Blake's effort, input, care, and hard work on the development of this film in all its phases, I am positive It Ends With Us would not be of the same quality it currently is. I find that such a mean-spirited sentence to include in this. I do. I think that is such a betrayal to Justin Baldoni to suggest that without Blake Lively, the film would have been shit. Colleen Hoover knew that Justin Baldoni's edit of the film scored higher and still supported Blake's anyway. It's infuriating to have to read all of this. But, again, this jury will be looking at all of this stuff, so we will look at it too. She continues, I believe her role as a producer on this film should be recognised, and as the author of the book, it has been an honour to be on this journey with her and to be able to witness firsthand her passion for the entire project. Not enough passion to read the book. Again, just saying. So this is June 19th. This is Rob Simonson, a composer that she replaced the original composer with, the one she had fired. To whom it may concern, we are writing to vouch for Blake Lively regarding her significant work on It Ends With Us. We were brought on board a few weeks ago by her to rescore the project, and she has been instrumental in producing the final version. As the composers, we have worked solely and closely with Blake to realise her vision. Right, I have an issue with that sentence. We have worked solely with Blake. Let's take out closely for a minute. That's what that says. We have worked solely with Blake. Again, Justin Baldoni was cut out of this. Jamie Heath, cut out of it. These two worked solely with Blake. And then they follow that up with to realise her vision. Not Justin Baldoni's, not Sony's, Blake Lively's vision. She's been clear and instructive and has made decisive contributions that have profoundly impacted the project's direction and quality. We fully support Blake and her contributions to It Ends With Us. Please feel free to contact us if you need any additional information. So this is Rob Simonson and Duncan Blickenstaff, the composers. Eric Deman. This is another June 20th letter. This is the costume designer. I'm writing in support of Blake Lively's petition for recognition by the PGA as a producer on the film It Ends With Us. I can attest as the costume designer of the film and a department head that her contributions to the production of the film went far well above the role of actor. She was thoroughly involved in creating a successful, cohesive vision to the look of the film. From consulting on character costume development and style, not only for her character, but also all of the lead and supporting roles. Ms. Lively's counsel extended far beyond my department into a fuller scope of production concerns that I would deem consistent with that of a producer. In my past 20-plus years of production experience, only directors and producers have shown the creative input and collaboration demonstrated by Miss Lively. She was consistently involved in creative meetings with the director, was she? And production designer regarding set choices. set design choices, guidance on locations, and prop selections. I wonder how people feel now. These people writing this and how they feel now they see the evidence. Like the set locations were locations that were convenient to Miss Lively. And again, the wardrobe. There was a big backlash to it. It upset Sony. Sony told Justin, go and tell her choice of clothes are shit. They make her look awful. And that was one of the events that is in her complaint. Yeah, the costume designer here is sitting here singing bullshit. It's madness. It's madness. Okay. Further, in an effort to make our shooting days smoother, Ms. Lively would meet with our AD team to map out shooting schedules, offering problem-solving ways to schedule, shoot, or combine scenes so that we could complete our days. I wonder if she had the first AD fired because she was pushing, because Julie Bloom was kind of pushing back on some of the demands that were being made. I wonder if that's what happened. She wanted yes men and women. Therefore, based on my personal witnessing of her considerable input, contributions, and creative management, I strongly support Miss Lively's petition to the PGA. Okay. Josh Greenstein. To the Producers Guild of America, my name is Josh Greenstein. I am the president of the Sony Motion Picture Group. I am writing this letter to ask that you please consider granting the PGA mark to Blake Lively for her producing role in It Ends With Us. We are distributing and marketing the film and have a sizable financial investment. Blake has recently been given producer credit by Wayfarer. This is the same guy, if I remember correctly, who said in his messages, I can't believe they caved on the producer credit. Is this the same guy, or is that someone else at Sony? Sony definitely said it. I just can't remember who said what. But it's wild seeing them write this stuff. Blake has recently been given a producer credit by Wayfarer, who is a co-financier as well and oversaw the production. I can only speak to what I've seen with my own eyes, and Blake is the definition of a producer. In the post-process, Blake's creativity and drive are an inspiration. She has worked tirelessly and collaboratively on every aspect of the film. Collaboratively. From schedule, score, mix, edit, and of course, the budget. Blake pushed us all to screen the movie several times in front of a test audience and dove into every card and every detail of the findings to improve the movie. On the marketing and distribution front, Blake has been an incredible partner. She's been involved in every decision when it comes to dating the movie and determining the release pattern, as well as our international efforts. She might be the best marketer of any producer I have worked with in my 25-year career, even way better than her husband. We have marketing calls daily, and I'm continually surprised and impressed with her grasp and mastery of the marketplace in the audience. No, I can't do it. I can't just get through that. I know that he criticized her marketing. Ugh. It's so nauseating to have to read them say all this stuff, knowing that this is not how they felt, or this is not what they said secretly behind her back. She pushed us to make the trailer great, got us a Taylor Swift song, and helped launch the trailer to one of the biggest trailer debuts we have ever had. I could go on, but I strongly feel Blake is the definition of what being a producer is all about. And I implore you to give her the PGA mark. Fuck. Makes me feel sick. All right, 19th of June. Is this another one from... Hold on. Clear. Yeah, it's the same one from the composer, so I'm not going to read that again. Okay. Right, this is the head of the hair department now, Robert Lugo. To whom it may concern, I am writing to highly recommend Blake Lively for her outstanding contributions to the film. It Ends With Us. As the head of the hair department, I have had the pleasure of working closely with Blake and have witnessed her immense talent and dedication. Blake played a significant role both on and off screen, on and behind the screen, bringing her creative inputs and expertise to shape the show's overall look. She consistently ensured that all elements aligned perfectly, creating a cohesive and visually appealing aesthetic. What truly sets Blake apart is her ability to foster a sense of support and inclusivity among everyone working behind the camera. She has a unique talent for making everyone feel valued, respected, and included. What? She has a unique talent for making people feel included. Is that except when they want to go to their own premiere? Is that where the line kind of is drawn in the sand? Oh my god. Blake's open and approachable nature encourages open communication. What the fuck am I reading? And she has been instrumental in maintaining a positive and collaborative work environment. I'm not even sure he believes what he's writing here. I mean, this guy just deals with the hair. How does he know all of this? Throughout the production process, Blake's attention to detail and proactive approach have been remarkable. She regularly communicates with every department, ensuring that we stay on track and that all aspects of the production run smoothly. Her keen eye for detail allows her to identify areas where adjustments can be made to enhance the overall quality and uniqueness of the show. The show is a film. Blake's professionalism and willingness to go the extra mile have also made her a reliable resource for her colleagues. Whether it involves hair, clothes, prop, or production-related questions, Blake is always available to provide guidance and support. Please feel free to contact me if you require any further information or references regarding Blake's outstanding work. Oh, God. So this is the 21st of June. This is Susan Kent, the music supervisor. Another person that Blake Lively brought on. Dear Producers Guild of America, I'm writing on behalf of Blake Lively and her application for membership to the Producers Guild of America. I'm a music supervisor, currently working with Blake on the Sony Pictures feature film It Ends With Us. I have been involved with the film since the post-production process, and in that time Blake has been instrumental to the creative process. Musically speaking, she has creatively helped to set the overall musical tone of the film. She helped to creatively choose the composer. Spotted the film with him on where score should appear in the film. Discussed the creative direction, tone, and instrumentation. She has reviewed every score demo, and given notes. As far as the songs, Blake has personally handpicked and placed several songs in the film. She has worked closely with me to review song options, especially those needed to meet the budget. I have been music supervising feature films for over 15 years, and in this time have worked with many hands-on creative producers. Blake is one of those producers. I've first-hand seen her in editorial working on film edits to enhance the story, sitting with music editorial re-editing songs, and even sitting on the dub stage with our re-recording mixers, giving thoughts and notes on the film until late hours into the night. She cares about the creative process. She asserts her creative opinion. Finally, we have some truth in this. She asserts her creative opinion when she strongly believes in positive change, and overall has collaborated with our entire post-production team to help make this film the best it can be. I'm in support of her receiving this PGA title, and I hope you will be too. Finally, the last one, Todd Black. Another lackey that Blake Lively brought on. And this is one of the very few that actually mentions Justin Baldoni. I will point that out. This is one of the very few. If you look at all those letters, hardly any one of them even refers remotely to Justin Baldoni. This one does mention him in a slightly misleading way, but I'll give him some flowers for just even remembering to mention Justin Baldoni's name. Okay, dear PGA, my name is Todd Black, and I was brought on after the strikes to finish the feature film It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively and directed by Justin Baldoni. Wayfarer Entertainment it's a Wayfarer Studios, not Entertainment, was the production company, along with Columbia Pictures acting as the studio. As executive producer, I came aboard for the remainder of production to support Blake Lively in her achieving her vision in the most creative and economical way possible. Okay, so just note the wording, right? And there he says he came aboard to help her achieve her vision. Now, I am gonna pause it here because I'm gonna go and find something. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I've got it. So let me just switch screen, right? Well, let's remind ourselves of that word in there, right? As executive producer, I came aboard for the remainder of production to support Blake Lively in achieving her vision. Right? That's the purpose he says he was brought on. Okay. Let's see what the 17-point extortion letter says, because that's where Wayfarer had to agree to bring him on. He's point 12. It pisses me off when you know the real meaning, the real motive for this. Wayfarer will engage an additional experienced A-level producer approved by Miss Lively to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule, and overseeing logistics, problem-solving, and creative issues. Right? So, according to this is the return to work for protection letter, right? According to Blake Lively. Todd Black is the A-level producer they brought on as a result of this. This says he was brought on to ensure safety of the cast and crew, ensure compliance of the schedule, oversee logistics, problem solving, creative issues. Yeah? So, how is he saying here that he was brought on to support Blake Lively in achieving her vision in the most creative and economical way possible? Nothing here about I was brought on because of the issues early on. There was nothing here about that. He then goes on to say, I tried to serve her and Justin's vision. Ironically, right, I do actually believe that he was trying to, keep the peace. And I think that's why, in part, why Ryan Reynolds referred to him as a ineffectual elderly person, etc., etc. Him and Ange Giannetti is Ryan Reynolds made some really derogatory terms. And I think it's because Todd Black was actually genuinely trying to keep some peace and balance. So when he says, "I tried to serve her and Justin's vision," I do believe him, actually. But I am it's astounding, right, that he doesn't even know why he's been brought on. He is saying, "I was brought on to support her to achieve her vision." He doesn't even know that he's been brought on because Blake Lively didn't feel safe. Why? Because Blake Lively at no point did not feel safe. Okay, let's keep going. Oh yeah, sorry. I tried to serve her and Justin's vision while addressing any of Wayfarer and Sony's needs. Yeah, so the poor guy was just basically crushed in the middle of all of these, you know, huge entities, and like Lively and Reynolds, like Sony, like well, Wayfarer is not that big, but it's big enough. Yeah, and it's still overseen by Steve Sarowitz, who is arguably bigger than anyone in terms of financial resources. Okay. We ultimately wrapped the picture and went into post-production. During the post-process, I helped Blake achieve her creative desires for how the film should look, in conjunction with participating in Justin's directorial vision and cut. So he was part of Justin's cut. Interesting. Blake's vision, both with the picture cut and the songs and score, were implemented in the final version of the film. You can't say that she demanded that. He may not know even. I don't know. He may not know. I'm sure he does, but he can't say it. She has been instrumental in not only the actual editorial picture changes, but also the mix, score, color timing, marketing, publicity. Again, marketing and publicity and advertising. She has been a true creative vision of this film and its huge potential to a worldwide audience, in my opinion. All of her choices have elevated the film to a whole other level since I've been on the pictures as an executive producer. Interesting. Right, okay, I'm gonna leave it there because I am gonna do the expert report. Who is the expert? That's it, Jennifer Freyd. So I will be doing her expert report. That's about 40 pages long. But I made it an observation which I find incredibly interesting. Whether it means something, I don't know, but we'll see. All right. Thanks, guys.